So this is either the most elaborate hoax in history, or someone is about to get into some major legal troubles. If you haven't heard the news yet, a massive GTA 6 leak is going down as we speak, and from the looks of it, someone got access to a Rockstar Games employee developer account and got close to an hour of footage of what appears to be an early alpha build of Grand Theft Auto 6. But through all of this, we got to learn a lot of what will be in GTA 6, new gameplay mechanics, new features, the new setting, which, surprise surprise, yes, it is Vice City, and also a first look at the two new protagonists, so let's jump right in. Anyway, it seems that the rumors about a Bonnie and Clyde duo were true, and we have a look at the two new characters playable in GTA 6. The male protagonist goes by the name of Jason according to the game files. Meanwhile, the female is named Lucia. Not sure if these are set in stone, but that's what the files named them as. And I will say that the rumors about the female protagonist having a Latin American origin seem to be 100% factual as a result, also by her looks, but also by her name. This could also further confirm the other theory that GTA 6 will also feature more than just Vice City, and instead also include other notable Central and South America locations, though nothing confirmed yet, not even from these videos. We are not set with the character looks though, and at least for the female protagonist we can see some of her footage, including different hairstyles, clothing, and possibly even makeup at some point. So yeah, I mean, it was a given that character customization is making a return in 6, but I think it's going to go a little bit deeper compared to even 5, maybe borrowing a lot of details from Red Dead Redemption 2, and there's a few good reasons why I'm saying that. That's because there's other features in there that seem to be building upon what Rockstar Games learned in Red Dead Redemption 2. That's why I want to start things off with the city itself. Vice City seems to be the primary setting over here, and judging by the look of the cars, buildings, and generally the whole vibe of the game, it seems to be set in the present day. In fact, I would say it's very close to 2020, given the fact that there's a conversation picked up between two random NPCs which seem to talk about uploading your mind to the cloud and then it's being stolen by a foreign government, which, yeah, it's pretty funny if you see the video. And at the same time, there's other references to the GTA universe in there too. We know it's also true from the substation that features Vice City by name. On the side of some of these trams, we can see Vice City Metro being written on it. And there's also the police vehicles in many of these shots that mention VCPD, which obviously stands for that. But we also got a look at some of the recognizable areas. In one of the driving videos, there's a road sign indicating the Washington Beach exit onto the right side. If it sounds familiar, it should, because this is close to where Tommy begins his adventures in GTA Vice City. It's also located onto the eastern side of the map, and there's other recognizable beaches in that area. I'm pretty sure we can also see the area and the beach itself, and of course the ocean behind the palm trees in the distance in this shot. Another recognizable point of interest would be the Escobar International Airport. We have a zoomed out picture over here of what appears to be the airport itself, almost unrecognizable compared to how it was back in Vice City. Obviously way more detailed, but some parts of it can still be made out a little bit, like the outer docks nearby onto the bottom right side, but most of it is just like almost unrecognizable, and it's a lot more detailed than how it was all those years back. Now, mechanics wise, this is where it gets a bit interesting. There's a few new features compared to 5, and a few of them even seem to be inspired, as I've said, from previous Rockstar titles like Red Dead Redemption 2. One that stood out immediately for me is the store robbery mechanic that, yeah, also make a comeback partially from Vice City, but are a lot more refined and a lot more advanced. In the previous Vice City game, there were like 15 store robberies that you needed to do for 100% completion, but in 6, they took that to the next level. If you look at some of these areas, they include recognizable mechanics from RDR2. In this case, you can see the clerk behind the counter being held hostage, and it doesn't just apply to the clerk, it's also applying to the entire diner, and if there's any customers left, all of them will be held hostage in GTA 6. In this shot, we can see there are 3 options popping up when aiming your gun at the person behind the counter, with either the option to rob them, give a melee hit, or a third one which is likely to shoot them, but it doesn't appear in this shot. The same set of actions can also be done on every single citizen remaining inside of this diner, so it's definitely inspired by, for example, the train robberies that we had in Red Dead Redemption 2, where you could similarly also collect loot from the citizens that didn't yet get to flee. In one of the background shots, we can also see a cop dispatch timer, and before the scene begins, our female protagonist is seemingly being helped by a second gunman, likely Jason, because there's also a shot of him from a different perspective. There's also a death counter present here, likely influencing the success of the robbery and possibly even the wanted level resulting from it. If you played Red Dead Redemption 2, you will know that you will want to keep the cops as far as possible for as long as possible until you do the full robbery. Otherwise, you're kind of getting a lot of wanted stars and you don't get that much loot. So this is likely a balancing act that we also need to do in 6 to reap the most amount of cash and valuables before the cops swing by. What's unknown here is if this is part of a set section of missions or a mission track, or is this something that you can pull off in the open world. My expectation is, again, like in RDR2, some of these are mission related, but once you finish the game, you can also probably do them solo as well, or with the help of your other partner. Another new mechanic seen in many of these shots, especially in terms of vehicle combat, it seems that shooting from inside the vehicle is now fully possible and way more detailed than before. In one of the shots, we can see it's possible to aim behind you or in the back of the car while simply being inside of it. And in the second one, we can see it's also possible to climb onto the sides of the vehicle, even pop up the sunroof if it happens to feature one, to instead aim like that. I think this could be a very useful mechanic. It reminds me a bit of Just Cause and Saints Row, which also featured similar actions while you were in speeding vehicles. It looks like there's more interactions with the car interiors this time around. If you play GTA 5, I mean, you obviously did. You know how detailed they were in terms of pretty much everything from the sounds to the way they acted. Well, it seems that they are bringing it a few steps beyond that in 6. So now there's pretty much animations for everything inside of the vehicle, from adjusting the mirrors, other parts of it, opening up compartments. Now, new UI changes were also shown in the footage, and it seems to be similar to how it was until now, with the exception that the weapon wheel, at least in this alpha footage, was no longer present in the middle of the screen, but rather onto the side. Though this could just be part of the test build, and eventually it will make its way back to the center. A noteworthy addition here is the introduction of a duffel bag / loot bag, at least that's what the UI calls it for now. From the looks of it, it's a portable stash that can be accessed similarly to, well, for example, the other things you can access in the weapon wheel, like the weapons and whatnot. So pulling it up features a separate menu that's likely to include items, maybe loot, maybe weaponry that you decided to store in it. The only question that I have is, how does this factor into the gameplay, as it seems to just be an additional screen you have to enter for the items you already have upon you. But I think personally that it goes a bit deeper, and it could play a role into that robbery mechanic, deaths, or possibly even heists, as I'm sure Rockstar Games would expand upon the ones present in GTA 5. So what if this duffel bag is needed for more complex robberies or heists, when you need to just steal large sums of money and you just can't keep them in your pockets? So a duffel bag is needed for more realistic reasons. I would definitely love your opinions down below. Anyway, this is pretty much it with the leak. Let me know down below if you found any other interesting details, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.